Alright, hello everybody, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're gonna talk about Archguns in Railjack. Now, I originally wanted to do all the Archguns, but now that I'm finished with my testing, I would just say that there is no point to ever take anything that doesn't have high fire rate and high status into Railjack. Because you would literally be better off by equipping yourself with a pair of pliers and then slowly try to detach the enemy's wings one snip at a time. The performance on something like the Dual Dusurion, which normally is a crit monster, is absolutely pathetic. I mean, I have a full 3-forma boat on the Dual Dusurion and I couldn't kill a single fighter in the Vale before I ran out of energy on my Amisha, so I couldn't slow the fighter down anymore and it flew away and then I died. So in the end, I just decided to focus on the weapons that can actually do something. The first one, and probably the strongest one when it comes to destroying the fighters, being Cyngas. Now, while this is the best one, it's still not like amazing. You will still have to pump at least 2 magazines into all the fighters. The first one to proc a bunch of status and the second one to actually do damage. But luckily, since the Cyngas recharges ammo very fast and you only have about 50 rounds, even with magazine extension, you get the magazine back in no time. So this one actually feels pretty good even when used in the Ruse Warfield in the Vale. Now, the build that I found to be the most effective is running Rubido lined barrel, dual rounds, then Zodiac Shred to bring up slash a little bit because it's by far the strongest damage type, then magazine extension for the capacity, automatic trigger for the fire rate, and then 3 dual stat mods. And it doesn't seem to matter at all what kind of dual stat mods you use, because I don't think I have ever procced an elemental status effect with an Archgun. Now, the reason why slash is so good and why we actually want to bump it up with Zodiac Shred so that it's by far the most likely status effect to be inflicted on the enemy is because in Railjack it gets converted to particle, which causes a tear effect that causes an increased damage taken debuff. And this stacks multiplicatively with itself. This is why the first magazine only does about 20% of the enemy's damage and the second magazine just straight up kills them. Next on the menu we have the Imperator Vandal, which, while not as good as the Cyngas, has its advantages. This one kind of lacks damage as well as status, but it's more than made up for with the insanely high fire rate, which not only makes it so that you can take down normal ships really fast, it also means that you can take down these chaps really fast, which are probably the most dangerous thing for your Railjack outside of cruise ships. You can absolutely decimate their weak spots, which takes them down very fast. So this one also doesn't feel too bad even when used in the Ruse Warfield in the Vale. And the build I ended up running here is only slightly different to the previous one, so we have automatic trigger, Rubido lined barrel, dual rounds, then magazine extension, and then all 4 of the dual stat mods, because the status chance here isn't that great, so we want to bring it up as much as possible. And the final weapon on our menu, yes, there are only 3, is the Phaedra. And this one is somewhere between the Imperator Vandal and the Cyngas. Though this one is a little bit more random than the other two, because it's primarily puncture based, which is converted into plasma, which strips armor and shields. But it also does have some slash, so the kill time kind of depends on how much you proc particle. If you proc it a lot, especially up front, you're gonna decimate the ships even faster than with the Cyngas, but if you don't get it a lot, it takes a little bit longer than with the Imperator Vandal. And just like with the Imperator Vandal, the fire rate here is pretty fast once it's fully spooled up, so it's great for taking out the weak points on Outriders. And the build I ended up running here is exactly the same as I did on the Cyngas, so we have Rubido lined barrel, then dual rounds, Zodiac Shred for the extra slash, followed by magazine extension for the mag capacity, then automatic trigger for the fire rate, and then 3 random dual stat mods. Though of course you're free to experiment, so just try some different mods and maybe you'll find something even better, but for me this is what performed the best. And now just some honorable mentions. So the Grappler, the damage here isn't too bad. The problem is with the ammo recharge. It just recharges ammo too slow, so once you fire out your magazine, you're gonna be sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for it to recharge. And the one that feels the best is probably the Larkspur, because the beam will simply lock onto the target and keep doing damage, but unfortunately the damage that it does do is not enough. For the Vale anyways, it's pretty great on Earth and it's kind of alright on Saturn as well, though the damage, you'll start to notice it fall off quite a bit. And that is pretty much it. All the other Archguns are just a complete joke. And I do really mean a complete joke. I mean, this is a fully format Kuva Ayanga. Look at it. Just look at it. Now, if you're not quite sure why the damage is as pathetic as it is on the vast majority of Archguns, and basically the only ones that do something are the ones that proc slash or particle in this case, it's because the E didn't want Archguns to be stronger than like the turret guns on a Railjack, so they nerfed them massively, and someone actually did the testing and they came to the conclusion that the Archguns do about 5% of their damage if used in Railjack. But anyway, that's pretty much it, so I thank you very much for watching as always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and it was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.